I feel like if you don't get a job, I want to go back to Uganda.
What'd you just say?
Do you need your hearing tested, Greg? She said what she said. Joan may have only been in the States for about a week, but by the sounds of things, she's already done with Greg hanging around and doing nothing. The guy needs to get a job, not least because if he doesn't, he won't be able to provide the 15 cow dowry Joan's family expect in order to approve her marriage to him.
Realistically, though, how does somebody afford 15 cows? I mean...
People do afford, it's just you who can't afford. So it's not like people can't afford it. It's just you.
The gloves are well and truly off, and Joan isn't holding back. She wants her fiancé to start taking life seriously, and if she has to be harsh to get him to do that, well, she's all too happy to oblige. Yeah, it's gonna be a bumpy ride for Greg. But before we get to that, let's rewind to the start. So the last time we saw these two, they were out with Greg's friends, and all of them, Greg's friends included, were telling him that he needs to get a job. So when we catch up with them in this episode, they're back at Greg's mum's house, and it's safe to say the day isn't off to the best start.
What's up, beautiful?
You, as a person, you just want to be messy? I don't understand.
Poor Joan only has the one room that she can consider her own, her safe space. But guess what? Greg is messing that room up too. Like, he seems to be so used to his mum running around after him and clearing up his mess that he probably expects that Joan will do the same. But she has no interest in doing that for him. He's a grown-ass man. He can pick up after himself.
If you're done with the clothes, just fold them up, put them where they're supposed to be.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, that's what I want. Sometimes you think I'm joking in everything I say.
Now, we know that this is a character trait of Greg's. Like, this is his personality. He likes to make fun of certain things. When he's uncomfortable, we've been told and we've seen that he likes to crack a joke. But this trait of his already appears to be grinding on Joan. She's starting to get a little bit salty about it. Now, Greg doesn't really seem to get it. I'm used to my mum nagging me, he says, but having another woman also nag me is going to take some getting used to. But there is a simple solution to that, Greg. How about you pick up your own damn socks? No one has to. No one wants to nag you. Now, a clearly frustrated Joan leaves her fiancé to sit around playing his computer games while she goes outside to speak to her family on the phone. And it's on that call that she begins to open up and tell them some of her big concerns.
He doesn't take like work serious.
That's not right.
I may want to stay here, like, I love him, but I'm also like losing a lot.
Joan doesn't sugarcoat anything. She tells her family that Greg not working also means that he doesn't have the funds needed for them to be able to move out of his mum's house. I love him, but this is worrying me, she says. And she also admits she doesn't think he's going to be able to afford the traditional dowry that her family are expecting. Now, remember, a dowry, as we've seen many times on this show before, especially in African countries, is a fundamental part of the wedding process. No dowry, no marriage. It's that simple. So it comes as no surprise that this news is a big shock to Joan's family. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that he has no money. Greg has to pay it if he wants to marry Joan. It's a non-negotiable. It's a sign of respect.
Greg has to pay dowry for me in my culture. So if Greg doesn't want to pay the dowry, he's going to be disrespecting my family and also my father's last wishes.
Did you get that? Did you hear just how important this is? This isn't just disrespecting her family, it's disrespecting her father's last wishes. Tell me, what daughter willingly wants to do that? None, of course. So, understandably, this conversation has now left Joan more stressed than before. Perhaps spending some quality time with Greg relaxing might be exactly what the doctor ordered, right? Well, when they go out to the garden to the chicken coop to gather all the eggs, Greg shares just how important the chickens are to him.
So we have 18 chickens. They're part of the family. I mean, we love them.
Now, they do seem to be very well looked after chickens, right? It's a pretty awesome chicken coop. Greg maintains that he loves the chickens as though they're part of his family, and in return, he says, because of how happy they are, they lay some great eggs. But Joan doesn't see it that way. She thinks they could be of more use than just eggs.
So when can we eat one?
What?
Oh, it will be so delicious. I just can't wait to have one. And I know you like it.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love it.
Greg went from the chickens are my family to the chickens would be delicious in record time. It wasn't exactly like Joan had to do much convincing, was it? I wonder if Greg's mum would be on board with that, because I know for a fact there's one person in the 90-day universe who would not be happy.
Let that chicken live.
Now, as Greg and Joan are busy eyeing up which family member looks the juiciest, Greg's mum makes an appearance. She comes outside and tells them all that she's off to work. Now, for Greg, that is a welcome interruption. It's good news. It's been difficult to shake off my mum, he says. Wherever I go, anything I do, my mum's there stuck to me like glue.
If I go in the garage, she comes in the garage. If I go in the back room, she's vacuuming in the back room. If I'm in the kitchen, she's cleaning dishes in the kitchen. It's like, what the man? Is it really that much to do?
Now, from what we've seen and from what Greg is telling us, Lucille seems like an overbearing mum. She's the kind of mum who thinks she's doing her best for her son, but ironically ends up just babying him. She's created a man-child. And while Greg is there moaning about his mum, I mean, that's gratitude for you, he also seemingly inadvertently lets slip what it is his mum does for work and how that all came about.
So introducing my mom to rideshare deliveries during the pandemic, I mean, it's probably one of the best ideas I've ever had.
Honestly, this guy, are you really telling me that his mum has to go out to do rideshare deliveries in order to make ends meet, while Greg, whose idea it was for her to do that, sits around all day and does nothing? Like, am I missing something? If it's such a good idea, why couldn't he be doing those deliveries himself? Why can't he be making some extra money instead of making his mum go out and do it? Like, this guy, he really doesn't seem to have much drive. Now, on the plus side, in keeping with what we know about his mum, she seems all too happy to be doing this, to be doing essentially what Greg should be. As the camera crew catch up with her in her car, she's in good spirits. She tells us that since Joan has arrived, Greg is happier than usual. Seeing him happy makes me happy, she says. But little does she know, while the cat's away, the mice do play. You see, at this precise moment, Greg is about to get even happier than usual.
You want to head on inside? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you in a rush?
Yeah.
So, with the coast clear, with the little sliver of privacy that his mum being out affords them, the pair head upstairs to his bedroom like naughty teenagers. Out go the camera crew, down go the blinds, and an hour later we join them in their dressing gowns as they come back outside with huge smiles on their faces back into the garden. Now, Greg is in a good mood, and as usual, he's full of jokes.
I gotta water the garden. Mom asked me to water the garden. So, what's going on with the pressure?
Sure you don't make me wet.
I already did.
Okay there, big man, too much information. Just look at the shock on Joan's face as he says that, like she's staring directly at the camera crew. Now, Greg goes on to say that I wish my mum went out more, and Joan agrees. But, she says, this isn't sustainable, like this isn't the long-term solution. Like, we're adults, we shouldn't need to sneak around like this.
I enjoy the time we have together, but when will this stop? You don't have to wait for your mom always to get out.
Living in this way, doing this for the next 2 years like you've suggested, Greg, is going to be impossible for me, Joan says. I just don't see that working. We need to make a plan to get our own place. But, of course, in order for that to happen, Greg needs to get a job. And if he's not willing to do that, well, then Joan is prepared to take some drastic action.
I feel like if you don't get a job, I want to go back to Uganda.
What'd you just say?
I'm pretty sure you heard her just fine, Greg. If you don't get a job, Joan is going back home. Now, she says to Greg, meeting your friends has made me even more sure about this. I know that this is the right decision. Your friends are the same age as you, but look at them, she says. They're successful, they have careers, they don't live at home with their parents. You can do that too. You should want to do that too, she says to Greg. Now, she goes on to try and soften the blow by saying she loves Greg, she loves how caring and honest he is, but that isn't enough. She can't rely on him. His recent actions have proved that to her.
The job you denied just before I came, in my head I'm like, he knew I was coming, so he didn't prepare like maybe to get a job, so.
I should have took that job, I know.
Rejecting stable employment, a stable income, only to sit around at home and play computer games or collect eggs, isn't the kind of life that Joan wants. Rightly so, it has her very worried. Greg doesn't take life seriously, she says. He's always making a joke out of everything. Now, Greg doesn't think that that's fair. She knew who I was. She knows that I'm a jokester. She knew that before she agreed to marry me, he says. And oh, by the way, he adds, I've also applied for other jobs. I am trying. Joan just doesn't get it. She doesn't understand what I've sacrificed, he argues.
But I don't think she realizes, like, if I had a regular 9-to-5 job, I wouldn't have been able to have the freedom to go and visit her to Uganda as much as I could. I think I should be given a little bit of credit here.
If I had had a job, Greg says, then our relationship wouldn't be where it is now. The reason I was able to fly out to Uganda as often as I did, the reason we were able to get to know each other like we have, is because I didn't have the responsibility of a regular job, he argues. Now, on that front, he does have a point. But, on the other hand, if he had a job, he also wouldn't be in debt like he now is. Like, yes, he may have not been able to fly out to Uganda as often, but other couples have made it work. He's acting like having a job would mean he'd never be able to go out to Uganda, and that just simply isn't the case. Heck, if he had employment, she might now be a little bit more happy. They might now be able to get their own place. Like, for as convenient as it is for him to say, I couldn't get a job while we were dating, it just seems like a feeble excuse. And more to the point, now that she's in the States, he really needs to step up. Now is the time to prove that he can support her, because it isn't just the living situation that's weighing heavy on Joan's mind.
Yes, and you know about the bride price, the dowry, I had told you about it. Yeah, it's 15 cows.
I have absolutely no idea whether 15 cows is or isn't a fair dowry price. Maybe someone with a bit more experience, perhaps someone from Uganda, can let us know down in the comments below. Like, has the quantity been inflated because he's from America, or is that pretty standard? Whatever the case, Joan tells us that each cow costs about $200. Again, to my completely uneducated ear, $200 for a large animal doesn't seem too extortionate.
How much? 200, that is about $500 US. Ew.
But times that by 15 and we're talking $3,000. Like $3,000, that is expensive, especially for someone that doesn't have a job. But, says Joan, that's his problem. I have no sympathy for that.
Realistically, though, how does somebody afford 15 cows? I mean...
People do afford it, it's just you who can't afford. So it's not like people can't afford it. It's just you.
The gloves are coming off. Joan is done sugarcoating things for Greg. But Greg isn't happy either. How is everything on me, he asks. I have to pay for a wedding, I have to pay for your dress, and now this? But, unfortunately, as far as Joan's concerned, there is no compromising. Those are the terms, this is what I expect, and it is what it is. If you want to marry me, she says, you're gonna have to find a way to make this work. And hint, hint, nudge, nudge, that means getting up off your ass and actually finding a job. How serious are you? She asks. How badly do you want me?
The job doesn't come, which means we're not going to get married, because it means you can't take care of me. So yes, the fact is that if I don't see you putting in much effort, that's it.
Joan couldn't make that any clearer if she tried. Like, he's gonna need to step up or she's gone. So is this the kick up the arse, the tough love, the reality check that Greg needs? Or is this threat gonna cause him to buckle? It's time to sink or swim. What happens next is gonna prove one way or the other exactly what kind of man Greg really is.